If you gathered every cent in circulation and distributed it perfectly among everyone on Earth, the economic divide would reappear within a few years. The same groups would be wealthy, and the same groups would be struggling. This happens because wealth is a reflection of strategic decision-making. Physical effort yields a linear payoff, but judgment allows a person to leverage the efforts of hundreds of others, which is how capital actually compounds. Consider the difference between a laborer swinging a hammer for 12 hours and a strategist directing an entire construction firm from a desk. One is selling their physical time, while the other is selling their ability to organize resources. If the amount of sweat you produced was the primary driver of success, daily wage laborers would be the richest people on the planet. Chanakya, the strategist who helped build the Maurya Empire, told his pupils to stop working like donkeys. He observed that the rulers and elite merchants of his time never built their fortunes through their own physical labor. A person's physical endurance has a ceiling. There are only so many hours you can swing a hammer before the body fails or the day ends, which creates a natural cap on how much a laborer can ever earn. To reach a different level of wealth, you have to move your primary work away from your hands and into your judgment and planning. That transition begins by treating your knowledge as your most important asset. In this system, continuous learning is a strict requirement because your income is tied to the quality of your decisions. These decisions often center on identifying opportunities that others miss. They rarely look like invitations. They usually arrive in the form of a sudden crisis, a harsh insult, or a comment from a friend that everyone else ignores. Catching those moments requires a high level of time discipline. The wealthy treat their schedule of an asset more valuable than their bank balance. Look at how these two assets behave. If this money trend line on the left drops because of a bad investment, it can eventually trend back up. But when the time trend line on the right drops to zero, it stays there. You can't reinvest seconds. Wealth seeks out those who demonstrate they can master their own time and mental focus, and it disappears from those who allow themselves to be distracted. Earning money requires a specific strategy, but retaining it requires an entirely different set of habits. The real test begins after the first major paycheck arrives. Money acts as an amplifier of existing habits. If someone hasn't practiced self-control while they were poor, a sudden influx of cash usually just funds a faster route to debt through lifestyle inflation. There is a specific drain on wealth that often goes unnoticed: lending money to friends or family. We often agree to these loans because of immediate social pressure, but when it isn't returned, the resulting resentment erodes the very relationship we tried to protect. Building a sustainable financial future requires you to separate emotional appeals from your financial decisions. To protect your wealth, Chanakya suggested 5 specific methods for saying no to these requests without causing unnecessary conflict. First, use a 24-hour delay. Instead of an immediate answer, say you need to check your accounts. This cooling-off period often reveals whether the borrower's need is genuine or just impulsive. Second, ask for a documented repayment plan. Demanding a logical explanation of how they will return the money often causes those with bad intentions to look for an easier target. You can also ask for security, like a physical item to hold, or explain that your money is currently in an investment where early withdrawal would trigger a penalty the borrower would have to cover. If the situation is a genuine emergency, offer a small portion of the amount as a gift that never needs to be repaid. This helps the person while keeping the bulk of your savings intact. These tactics serve as a filter, helping you distinguish between a friend in crisis and someone simply looking to exploit your success. You might worry that setting these boundaries will cause people to walk away from you. If a friendship dissolves because you declined to be an ATM, that connection was already reduced to a simple transaction. The loss of that person is actually the removal of a drain on your life. Saying no to these requests is an exercise in self-respect. It ensures that your resources stay focused on the goals you've set for your family's future. Step away from the physical grind. Use your judgment to grow your resources and set clear boundaries to keep them.